When this project first started, I'll be honest, I was struggling to find a topic. I kept scrolling through ideas, hoping one would stand out, but nothing felt meaningful. Then I remembered I had an inlet into a massive real-world issue. My sister actually works for Boeing, and hearing her talk about the company over time made me realize how much the public conversation around Boeing had changed. That connection led me to dig deeper, and before long, Boeing became the perfect topic for me. It was complicated and something I genuinely wanted to understand. So I decided to do a deep dive into Boeing, not just the headlines, but the deeper issues behind the company's safety problems and what it would take to rebuild trust. As I researched further, I learned how much Boeing once represented. For decades, the company led the industry in engineering and safety, but the more I looked into it, the more I realized how far Boeing had drifted from these values. They had been cutting corners, and it was all a culture that had slowly shifted away from what Boeing was great at in the first place. This contrast became the foundation of what my learning journey was going to be. A major turning point in my project came when I got the chance through my sister to speak with a Boeing executive. Because of company policy, though, they wouldn't let me record or they couldn't go on the record on behalf of Boeing, but they were willing to speak with me privately and give their personal perspective on the issues. What they shared added a whole new layer to my understanding. They talked about how the company gradually had become more focused on, speed and cutting costs than on engineering and safety precision, and how employees sometimes felt pressure not to slow down production, even when something didn't seem right on the planes. They admitted the company had lost touch with its, original roots, and they said that the biggest challenge now is not just fixing technical issues, but rebuilding a culture where employees then feel empowered to speak up. So we moved into breaking down the entire strategic problem using the AFI framework, and that made everything start to come together. On the analysis stage, I compared Boeing's mission to what had actually happened. Their strengths like global brand recognition and engineering expertise were still there, but they become overshadowed by weaknesses like rushed timelines and internal communication gaps. My SWOT analysis showed the seriousness of the situation, which was Airbus gaining market share, customers losing trust, regulators cracking down on them, but there were opportunities as well, better safety technology and growing demand for air travel. The conversation with the executive honestly helped clarify why those weaknesses happened and how deep those cultural issues were tied to safety problems. That insight helped shape my understanding of how Boeing ended up in this position and what it would take to move forward. Next came the formulation, deciding what strategy Boeing should actually pursue. I argued that Boeing shouldn't compete by building planes faster or cheaper than Airbus. Instead, Boeing needs a differentiation strategy built around unmatched safety and reliability. That means slowing down, testing more, and letting quality and not speed define the company again. I also emphasized cultural reform as well. Boeing needs open communication channels, protection for employees who report safety concerns, and leadership that prioritizes engineering excellence again. Without culture change, any technical issues would only be temporary. Finally came the implementation stage, which involved designing real steps Boeing could take, which were an employee-led internal safety council, 3 mandatory inspections for every aircraft, including before it was built, during it was built, and before delivery to the actual people they sold it to, doing R&D for advanced safety detection technology, making a safety first training program for their employees and certifying that the new employees who went through it, rewards and incentives for identifying safety issues to its current employees, and random and internal FAA inspections with transparent safety scores, such as the ones you may see on the walls by the health departments when you go into a restaurant. So these actions aren't just processes, they would help rebuild Boeing's foundation and restore the trust it lost. By the time I finished this project, what began as frustration trying to find a topic turned into one of the most interesting learning journeys I've had. Researching Boeing taught me how quickly trust can vanish when safety slips, and talking with an executive made me realize how complicated these problems really are from the inside. The AFI framework helped me not only understand what went wrong, but what it would take to fix. And the conclusion was simple: Boeing can recover, but only if safety becomes the center of every decision at every level of the company. This project showed me that rebuilding trust is a long-term process, but with the right strategy and culture, Boeing has the potential to become the company the world once relied on again.